It's pure entertainment. It's designed for the audience to go out and see an experience that really gets them on the edge of their seats and screaming with laughter and thrills and walking away afterwards saying, that was a damn good time.
I'm a fan of those movies. I think we talk about, Alex asked Sam right when he got involved, what's the best alligator movie he's ever seen? And he said Jurassic Park, which we laughed. But the point was like there hasn't been a great alligator movie, and this one really sets the bar, and it feeds so many other things: your horror, your drama between your the father and daughter, the breakneck thriller part of it, and the stakes. It's fantastic. So that's what we say, and it's all wrapped up in entertainment, fun, popcorn.
I think that Alex did a wonderful job balancing it. I think it started in the screenplay that the Rasmussen brothers wrote. It was really a great situation for a horror film because it really could happen. The United States specifically is flooding more and more each year. You see on TV these houses that are underwater, and also that these alligators are driven to high ground in floods. You know, they're swamp creatures. They want some land and water. If an area floods 10 feet, they will seek somewhere else. They have to. So it's very possible that they could seek a home, and a family trapped within this home is what happens in this story, meets these alligators. And so I really like the balance, starting with a great suspenseful, believable premise, fantastic but believable. And the Rasmussen brothers gave us that. And then Alex Aja brought to it a real sense of suspense and an opening up of the world. He added scenes with the looters and others to give it some scope. And then another writer, uncredited, Dana Stevens, she brought a little humanity to it, the father-daughter story. And I think Alex was aware that each of these things were important in crafting a really thorough and complete experience for the audience going to the movies. So I think it was Alex and the writers that were very mindful of that balance.
You can't let up on the pacing, but you have to invest in these characters. And these characters you invest in, you're interested in what happened, why they're a little bit broken apart, and then you are rooting for them to heal that, and you're rooting for them to survive.
That balance was also achieved by Alex in the editing room. There was a little more depth that he had to the characters, and I know he was sorry to lose, but I think when he sat in the audience, he realized, I need to trim back here, I need to add here, I need to refashion it. Filmmaking is always a process of rebirthing, from writing to rewriting to acting to take two to editing, and he finally, in each place, found its rhythms, and he's a very good craftsman. He knows how to do it.
So I got the script as a spec from the Rasmussen brothers, and I loved the concept. And he was the first director that I had wanted to do a project with him because I was a fan of both High Tension and Hills Have Eyes. And I also thought, there's a little bit of Piranha in this. And if you combine all those skill sets, he was the right person to go to at the right time. I sent it to him because we had a relationship from working on another movie that didn't go. And he wrote me. He said, "You had me at the log line." Like he read the log line, and I think he literally saw the entire movie from the log line.
I realized when I saw Hot Tension what a master craftsman he was, what a great filmmaker, what a manipulator of the audience. He knows how to build suspense. So, and this film, it wasn't so much a collaboration as I was his sounding board, as was Craig. I mean, he really has a vision. And when I would have a note, he usually wouldn't take it. But sometimes he would. In rare cases, he would take Craig and I's notes.
Yeah.
And sometimes he wouldn't take the note, but he'd realize
Problem.
there was a problem, or we wouldn't give him a note, and he'd come up with an even better idea. So it worked a lot of different ways, but it really is all Alex's vision, and we were there to support him and challenge him whenever we could to push him harder.
So many moving pieces. There's two things that they say, both in budgeting and if you want to move quickly, to not have. You're not supposed to have kids. We had kids. And you're not supposed to have animals. We had animals, and we were not supposed to have water. We had the trifecta of things that you're not supposed to do if you're trying to make an efficient, movie. And he was ready for them. And his research is great, and it's very precise to the point of like finding the dog. We found the dog in Hungary, and it was trained well, and it was the animal wranglers were fantastic. His choice of kids is fantastic. They give good performances. He's really specific about that. And the water was a research thing for all of us, and we learned a ton about water. He knew a good amount from doing Piranha, but we were in Belgrade, Serbia, and shooting this movie, and it took some trial and error, and he, when we had the error part, he really pulled everybody together, and we all followed him. So,
And I don't know that a lot of other great directors, even great directors, could have done it. It took his experience of learning how to craft the tension through hot tension, and the experience mechanically of dealing with vast quantities of water, flood tanks, understanding how to light underwater, what shots are effective, how to move a crew through a water experience, obviously through Piranha, and maybe a movie like Horns taught him, working with great actors, how to get those subtle performances. And we really needed all of those directors in one. And I think it took till now to...
Crawl, there's an alligator over there. First of all, just how alligators move and what they eat and all the rules about alligators was highly researched by first the Rasmussen brothers, and then Alex took it to a whole deep dive level that he did on it. I think he can teach a class at Columbia's zoology school now on it, and but he is almost obsessed with making them look as real as possible. And so it was a combination from wanting to do things practical, like we've seen Sam do in his movies, which practical is always very much, I feel, is a little bit more scary than when you have overly CG movies. So we used a combination of mechanical operated both pieces of alligators, like just the tail, just the head, to bigger entire alligators in their entirety. And when they need to attack, though, what his research found was like they attack with such speed, and you could see it on documentaries when you see them on the Nile and they grab an antelope or whatever. They're like slow, and then they go lightning fast, and only visual effects could do that. And we found a great company with Rodeo who had done the alligators in both Jumanji and the Tarzan, the Warner Brother Tarzan movie, and then we made them crank it up even more.
I'm inspired. Being around a great artist is inspiring for everyone, not just the crew and the actors, but for myself as a producer. You're reminded of what's possible and what passion you need to drive something. And if you do have that passion, how it can inspire others to really greatness. Well, I've been talking with Bruce Campbell and Rob Tappert about it. So maybe there will be something coming.